everyone! For November, I'm going to be doing a candle theme. All I feel like doing this month is lighting some candles and enjoying cozy vibes. It's also Diwali, which is the Hindu festival of light, where you celebrate choosing light over darkness. I'm going to try and keep my spreads pretty simple, otherwise I'll spend more time setting up than I will actually using my journal. For this theme, I thought it might be nice to combine craft paper with the white pages and the black and white pens to represent light and dark. Plus, you know how much I'm loving the vintage modern look, combining the old and the new. I stuck some craft paper down on the corner of the page. I then used a black fine liner to draw a dripping candle over the top of it, with the flame coming out onto the white part of the page. I wrote November with a fine liner. I then drew a vintage style border around the page. I wanted the November title to pop a bit more, so I cut up some black paper and put a smaller piece of white paper over the top of it. I used my hard tip brush pen to write up November. Next to this, I did my quote page. On some craft paper, I wrote up the quote, "It's better to light a candle than curse the darkness." I combined the black and white pens to represent light and dark. This is a great quote related to the theme, and it reminds you that you can choose positivity and light over darkness. I then drew a candle above and below the quote. Over on the monthly log, I stuck down some more craft paper in the corner and drew some vintagey candles over the top of it. These candles were really fun to draw. Again, I wanted the candles to go across both the craft and the white paper. I wrote November in a script font and then drew up a header box for my intentions. It felt like the page was missing something, so I added a craft paper cutout instead. If you saw my How I Plan Journal Themes video, you know I usually plan my themes to avoid this kind of situation, but for November I didn't plan as much, so you'll probably notice that I changed my mind quite a bit during this setup. I added sections for my intentions and my tasks for the month. I then added the days of the month on the right hand side to use for my events and scheduled videos. I like to highlight the weekends so I can easily see each separate week at a glance. I now have some exciting news. I've made another stencil which is now up in my Etsy shop. I often try to do this layout by hand and it just doesn't look very neat, so I thought a stencil would be handy. I'm using it here for my simple things list, but it will also be useful for any spreads that you want to split into 5 sections, like a monthly favourite spread where you write up your favourite things that month by category, or it might be nice to label it Monday to Friday and use it for lists or themes for each day. The stencil helps draw the circle in the middle and 5 equal sections around it, with some headers within it to label each category. I've provided a link to the stencil on Etsy in the description box below. Then I added my Simple Things header on some craft paper at the top of the page. I added some craft paper to the middle with November on it, with some black paper behind it. I coloured in the 5 headers around the circle with a neutral Tombow brush pen, since there aren't any specific colours in this theme, and then I added a black drop shadow. In this case, I used the headers to label the simple things list from 1 to 5 and added the list items around the circle. My simple pleasures to enjoy this month are: wrap up and go out, whatever the weather. Bring your duvet downstairs for an evening. Read a book with a throw and some candles, of course. Make a hot chocolate with real chocolate and savour every sip. Bake cookies for tea time on a rainy day. I then drew a candle in a jar in the corner of the page. I enjoyed doing my mood board last month, so I've set up another one for November. I have a craft paper header. I then added another vintage style candle underneath with the flame coming out onto the craft paper header. As always, I'll fill out these spreads with you in my monthly planning video at the end of this month. I'm using my stencil again to draw a circle in the middle and 5 sections. This is going to be for my currently in November spread. The currently spread is for capturing things that you're doing or enjoying at the moment. It can be things that you're reading, watching, listening to, or things that you're doing, feeling, or enjoying. I drew a candle on some craft paper and cut around it to stick in the middle. The categories I've chosen are things that I'm watching, reading, learning, thinking, and enjoying. Since this theme is about candles and light, I decided to do a light up your life list. Things that you can do to add light to your life. I'm thinking it can be things like listening to soothing or happy music, interacting with positive people, or doing something kind for someone. Let me know in the comments if you have any ideas and I'll look through them all before I fill out the spread with you in my monthly planning video. On the side of this spread, I drew half a candle on top of some craft paper. Next, I've set up some space for a brain dump. Rather than a page titled Brain Dump, I usually have specific topics that I want to brainstorm. These pages are going to be dedicated to brainstorming ideas for my newsletter and my blog posts. If you didn't already know, I have a newsletter that you can sign up to over on my website. I send out a weekly update every Sunday with some thoughts, reflection prompts, updates on content I've shared, and some of my favourite things that week. Finally, I have my first weekly spread for November. I've got the November header on some craft paper. I then drew a candlestick in the middle of the page. My daily to-do lists don't usually go that far into the page, so it's a good spot for doodles. I got some glue tape on my journal, and when I tried to clean it, my page started getting ruined and started peeling, so I covered it up with some craft paper. I think it works. Maybe it's actually better having some craft paper there to match up with the header on the left. I then have my days of the week laid out around the candles. Before I move on to the flip through, here are your amazing recreations of my October theme. If you decide to recreate November, tag me on Instagram so I can see, and for your Simple Things lists, use the hashtag #SimpleThingsList. Now on to the flip through. I hope you enjoyed this theme and that you have lots of light in your life this winter. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you soon.